We got some really good stuff for you guys today. I'm excited to be joined by Dan Washington, the Senior Vice President for the Carolinas companies, Berkshire, Hathaway, HomeServices, Carolina companies. This is an opportunity really for you to hear from Dan kind of what the 900 agents or so in their company are doing right now that's making an effect, not on their business just today, how they're building relationships that's going to build their business in the future. This is one you're not going to want to miss. All right, Dan, I am super excited to have you here to be able to share with our agents, with our region, with everybody, you know, some of the great things that you guys are doing with the Carolina companies, with Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Carolina's companies. If you don't mind, as the Senior Vice President, give us a little background kind of on you. I know you oversee, you know, roughly 900 agents, but kind of just give us a background of how did you get to here? You know, I mean, I think the backstory is always important. So if you don't mind, just share.
Thanks for having me, Jimmy. Yeah, so, you know, it's interesting. I think everybody, you know, they go to college, they plan to do something, and then, you know, you either grow up in real estate or you just kind of end up in it. And I didn't plan, you know, I didn't go to college for real estate. I didn't grow up in real estate, but I've been with our company since 2006. And back then we were Prudential Carolinas Realty like everybody else. And we've now converted to the Berkshire Hathaway brand in 2013. We did that. So, you know, I graduated at the University of Alabama. I went to high school in Northern Virginia. I actually married my high school sweetheart. She went to Virginia Tech. So we ended up in Northern Virginia after college and worked up there for about 4 years, had our first child, decided that the hustle and bustle of Northern Virginia was just too crazy and too expensive. And so we migrated down to Charlotte, where we had visited a lot of times, a lot of friends down here from either Alabama or Virginia Tech. And we just fell in love with the area. So built a house and I came down here. Immediately started working for LendingTree, which also at the time owned realestate.com, which was, you know, a lead source for agents. They were selling leads to agents and things. And so turns out my neighbor, you know, small world, was the president of our mortgage company here in North Carolina. And just through building that relationship, asked me one day if I wanted to come over and come over to the real estate side. And so it's been a great journey. And I didn't come over immediately as the senior vice president of sales. I actually came over as the IT director because I was showing agents value, showing them how to use the tools, things like that. And because of the fact that I've just developed relationships with everybody over the years, I've just evolved into other roles. And so now all of the branch managers report to me throughout North Carolina. We're in 4 markets, the 3 major markets: Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, the Triad, which is Winston-Salem, Greensboro, the Charlotte region. And then we actually have 2 offices in Pinehurst. And I know you played golf in college, and you know a little bit about Pinehurst, and that's a great town. So
it is a great town, and that kind of gets back. I mean, you know, how do you end up in Tuscaloosa? You know, in Alabama. I mean, that's kind of an interesting story. How did that all come to pass?
Yeah. So I actually played baseball a lot in high school. Went to a small school in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, called North Carolina Wesleyan my first year. And it was smaller than my high school. And, you know, I know you went to a small school too, but it wasn't for me. My dad went to Florida State growing up. So growing up, I was always down in Tallahassee enjoying a big school. And he was at the first Gulf War at the time. I was a junior and senior in high school. So just decided to be a little closer to home and went to North Carolina Wesleyan. But, you know, after that first year, I just said, I got to do something different. This is too small. And my neighbor was a year older than I, and he went down to Alabama. So I knew I'd have a roommate, and I just took a leap of faith and went down there and just had a ball, and it was awesome. I have a lot of great memories. We try to get down there at least once a year for a game, and hopefully we're able to do that this fall. We'll see what happens, but you know, Tuscaloosa is a great place. A lot of great memories.
Nothing like being an SEC athlete, huh? I mean, you get some experience, you know. I mean, that's great. I mean, I think that stuff kind of sets us up. I'll tell you what I'd really love to do, because, man, just, you know, the time that I've spent with you, I really appreciate the way that you just really bring value to agents. And that was the main reason I wanted to do this is because as we've been in this point where we're seeing some transition in the market, I know, you know, with the ability that you have to tap into roughly that 900 agents or so that you know that is in your company, much less the regional people that are outside of the company that you influence. Let's talk about some of those things. You know, what are some things that y'all are doing a little different from a company perspective first, and then maybe we'll get into some agent stuff. But I know, I think maybe hopefully you've got some slides. Maybe you can kind of share about some of the things y'all are doing.
Let me kind of pull these up real quick. I mean, I think, you know, like everybody else, you know, we went into this and we were a very relationship, and we still are a very relationship organization. So, you know, meeting face to face, giving hugs, handshakes. I mean, that's who we are, right? So everybody, though, now, I hope you bought stock in Zoom 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. But everybody went into the Zoom boom, and so did we, you know. And so we immediately got our trainer, our marketing staff, our CEO, and then we do a virtual sales meeting for the entire company once a week. And then we have a ton of virtual training going on. Not only that, but our managers, you know, have one-on-one coachings with their agents constantly, their own office meetings, they're doing Zoom. So, you know, 6 weeks into this now, going on 7 weeks, we've had a total of 470 virtual meetings. And that doesn't include the awesome content and the awesome value that the franchise is bringing from Stuart and Gino and everybody in their video series. And I think that we would have never had 14,931 agents participate in live meetings at our offices. So it's just amazing to me, you know, and we're just trying to bring a lot of value. So every week, you know, we're putting out a training calendar of our own. And this happens to be our trainer, Lacey, down at the bottom. And then Maria Kazakis and Carrie Race are two of our marketing folks who oversee digital and marketing and brand. And but you see, you know, I mean, we're a ninja selling company, ninjaselling.com, a really great real estate program around relationships. But you just kind of see some of the things we're doing here. You mentioned just what's new. I mean, we've had Videolicious now for years, but our agents, you know, like everything else, they focus on the things that are important to them at the time. And now they're being forced to embrace some of these tools that we've had out there for so long. And Videolicious is a great tool, but I mean, you know, these are just examples of things we're doing. We had an agent panel actually earlier today, and that's what we're trying to do too. We're trying to get agents from across our network, across our state, together to share how they're successful right now during this time, what they're doing maybe different to stay connected with their clients, and then just how did they get to be successful in general, you know, because we're going to go back to work, and this too shall pass. And our agents have been willing to share, you know, which has just been awesome for us. So it's been great.
I tell you, Dan, I think that's a good point. I think the collaboration right now that we've been able to embrace as a company, as a brand, has been a big driving force. You know, very, very similar. You know, obviously Videolicious is provided by the brand. Our agents are embracing that as well, and having those meetings where, you know, we've shifted really where we're just saying that we knew it before that we were better together. But now more than ever, that shines so bright, and have the ability to, you know, like you, we've had some of our top agents will come on a panel. What are you doing right now? Every week we're doing our sales meetings like you virtually, and we're seeing more participation now than when people would get up and come to the office, you know. And so we're seeing these people getting ideas, innovation, getting excited because they're hearing the people that are doing the business and what's going on. To me, I think it's a shift that we're probably going to see going forward a lot more of. I mean, what do you think? I mean, what do you see some changes that maybe are going to happen in our business going forward?
Yeah, I think, you know, for us, I mean, we think that absolutely virtual is not going away. And, you know, when we do get back to the office, we see a live sales meeting plus a virtual sales meeting going on at the same time, so that those who can't come to the office still can participate virtually. I mean, yes, we are going to go back to the office, but the amount of people that they're going to allow to gather together, you know, who knows when that will be, you know, 50, 60 people. So there is absolutely going to be a virtual piece. I mean, to your point, you know, the last gathering I was at was actually in Nashville for the Berkshire Hathaway convention. And then the next week, you know, is when everybody went home essentially. And those conventions that the franchise provides and being part of that network are so valuable, because the agents that go there, I mean, that's where they learn, that's where they network. And to me, what I think we've been thrown into is we're just having a convention every week, because agents are collaborating so much more now, where they would only do that once a year or twice a year at a convention. Now they're doing it all the time. You know, every day they're doing it with agents across the country, more or less just their own agents in their local market. So it's been awesome to watch. I think, you know, the Ninja philosophy, and we said this day one, we knew it would be tough for people. Some people really are struggling, and others. But Ninja has this saying that you're either a player or a victim, and you have to make that choice on what you want to be today. And, you know, we've been preaching that for the last 6 weeks. Our stay-at-home order is expiring today, moving into a different phase of it, where if you still can telecommute, they want you to telecommute, but things are being, released a little bit, and untightened a little bit. So, our agents have had to have a positive mindset this whole time. And that's been a big piece of what we've been preaching the whole time.
So that's interesting also because, every transition has winners and losers. Every transition has people that adapt and, and move forward even stronger than they were coming out of it. Personally, I've never gone through a struggle that I didn't come out at some point. Sometimes I struggle longer than others where I didn't come out stronger for going through that. What are you seeing some agents that are doing maybe some things that are a little different right now that maybe you see that's going to set them apart, not just now, but into the future?
Yeah, I think from day one, not only did we as an organization say, hey, we want to provide value to our agents during this time. The fact is we compete against a lot of people who aren't doing anything like we're doing right now to support our agents, which I think we hear that all the time from our agents because they know that, they see that. But, I think it's been interesting. You've had some top agents who have always had things on their to-do list. They're maybe a podcast, for example, that they've always wanted to do. And now they've had the time to do it, and they're doing it, and they're putting great content out there. Video itself is not comfortable for a lot of people. So even just the fear and the anxiety around how do I look, all that has been overcome the more they're getting comfortable doing that. I think it's amazing to me through the years in talking to our agents, and especially some of our top agents, when, I'll say, well, let's talk about your database. And they say, well, I don't have a database. You say, well, what do you mean you don't have a database? So, so what's been really good is some of those things like the database that they didn't have, they knew they needed one. They're using this time to focus on it and get done so that when we get out of this, now they have this well-oiled machine to start sending postcards and mailers and all the things they need to do. I think a lot of agents have upped their handwritten notes, write 2 handwritten notes a day. Now maybe they're writing 10 a day. I think they've really embraced direct mail. You're seeing a lot more of the pieces going out just to stay connected. We're just calling people, calling people in their Rolodex and, going down their phone and just dialing somebody and how you doing. And the one thing that's amazing to me is, I know the agents that I'm going to get on the phone with, and it's not going to be a short conversation. There is no short conversations today. Everybody wants to connect. Everybody wants to talk, share how you're doing, how's your family doing. It's amazing. And I think, one of the other things that they've done, which has been great, and our managers have been doing this as well to our agents at their houses, and that is, go pick some strawberries at the field over there and write a handwritten note, go drop it off at your client's house and send them a text and say, hey, the porch fairy just came and visited you. Hope you're doing well, and our agents are doing those things. The pop buys, they talk about those for years, right? But now they're really doing those things. And I think even the people at the very beginning that were scared, I'm not going to leave my house. This is going to crush my business. The more we've stayed connected, the more relaxed they've become. And they're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's good. We've seen our numbers where we were seeing, in the last 3-4 weeks, our pendings were down 35%. We're seeing that number start to come up now as some of these restrictions are being lifted. So, we're seeing some of that pent up demand. We're seeing the showings increase now where counties have released that. So it's been, it hadn't been good, but it's been good that the way that they've embraced it and we've wrapped our arms around each other to support each other and get through this.
I'll tell you this too. I think, all of those things, it's funny how the more we get, when we get to a shift like this, the more it just goes back to the basics. It's still sending handwritten thank you notes. It's still calling your database. It's adding value by those drop-bys. One of the things, because, we don't have in our area, a lot of ours are out-of-town owners. And so those drop-bys, we're doing some of the drop-bys like you're talking about. We're highly encouraging that with agents. Another thing that we're doing is just, if you've got out-of-town owners, just driving up in your car, you don't have to get out, and shooting a quick text video with the house in behind and just say, hey, I was just in the neighborhood. Your house looks fine. If there's anything I can do to check on anything for you, just know I'm here. Hope you guys are well. Those things are just, I mean, those are those kind of things that are really going to have a value, not just now, but for years and years and years to come. Those little quick pop buys, like you say, people will forget that stuff, you know?
No, they don't. And I think the other thing that we've been doing, it's part of Ninja, is real estate reviews, which is really a way for agents to provide value for forever. You're saying, hey, I'm your trusted advisor. You go to your doctor once a year. You go to your dentist once a year. You go to your financial planner once a year. And you see your real estate agent when you sell a house, and some of them don't ever see you again. So it's a good way to still be a trusted advisor every year, to come back, provide some value, talk about the biggest asset they probably have, and just, you know, have a conversation about it. And I think now our agents are really stepping up, wanting to do those real estate reviews, because not only do they have the ability to talk about their house, they have the ability to talk about, why don't you refinance? You know, why don't you, let's pull some money out. All of the things that people who have maybe lost their job right now, there's some people that are hurting out there, and it's not and I think the one other thing I saw at the beginning was agents and our managers alike felt like maybe they were being inappropriate having a sales conversation or, you know, or a recruiting conversation. And it wasn't about that. It was about empathy and caring and showing value. And when you just change the way you're having the conversation, it's not about, hey, are you ready to sell your house? It's about, you know, hey, I'm your trusted advisor. I helped you buy a house 3 years ago. You know, you're going to always rely on me, you know, that type of thing. So it's been good. And their their mindset has shifted over from the first couple of weeks to now. I mean, they're really, it's really good. They're positive now.
I think those conversations you're talking about too, you can only have so many of them. People really want to talk, you know? So when you check in on somebody, they want that interaction, you know, especially like you say, when it's not a sales call and you're just really deepening relationships. I mean, the goal should not be, can I find a listing today? It should be building relationships right now. The listings will come out of it, you know, just by making and picking up the phone. They're not going to be able to not talk about you. You mentioned about reviews, testimonials, those types of things. Obviously now more than ever, the value of having those online. I mean, the first place people start when they look for you is they look online, and when they Google you, because they're going to, what do they find? And so are y'all doing anything as far as encouraging, you know, past testimonials or anything that you guys are doing for the agents?
Yeah, we do. I mean, we use Testimonial Tree, which is a great vendor, and we provide that for our agents, and we really try to encourage them to get that, to your point, all the time, because it does add SEO value. We want people who are Googling us, Googling our agents, to see that. Not only that, I mean, it's a great way when they get a great review for them to share it on social media, attract other people, and just reiterate to, you know, I think the thing about, you know, just our philosophy too around Ninja is that most consumers know like 10 to 12 real estate agents. And normally they're going to pick the real estate agent they do business with because that person is in flow in their life. It could be their kid's soccer coach or their teacher, but agents have to do a good job of staying in flow with them and just reminding them that, hey, I'm still in real estate over here. And the reviews are a great way to do that because it just puts it out there. And now all those people who are your friends on social media, they're seeing somebody just gave you a 5-star and great comments, and they go, oh yeah, I remember Sally's in real estate, and let me call her, you know? So that's another reason why it's so valuable. And so, you know, I think you said you had that as well. I mean, I commend you for doing that. We've got to provide the tools, you know, to our agents to help them be successful. And that's one of them for sure.
Yeah, that was the main reason why we really embraced Testimonial Tree from a standpoint and integrated it where it was a kind of a part of the suite of technology tools that we provide to all of our agents, you know, for no cost for them, you know. And what we do is we've got SkySlope, which is manages all of the transaction side of it, which is free. We give to our agents as well. Yeah. And it automates the process. I mean, literally when they put the seller or the buyer's name in there, it does the automation of requesting that for them. And then they can filter those to see, you know, who are the ones that they want to, like you say, share social media wise. And it's just been tremendous because, I mean, going forward, I think having that ability for people to see those testimonials online for you is going to be critical. But I mean, I think like you, I mean, we're at a place where obviously as real estate companies, as brokers, as owners, managers of different companies, we've got to get to a place where we're providing the tools and the technology now. And what's been great about this association as well, I mean, is listen, for us, you and I, to be able to get on this call and for me to say, hey man, Dan, what's working for some of your folks, and be able to bring that to our agents, and to see like what you were talking about, where, you know, from our CEO, from Chris Stewart, doing weekly, he's doing 3 or 4 different interviews with agents on specific topics, on marketing, on what's working in other places. Those are some of those things that I think just help agents. Isolation creates depression. And I think some of our agents that we've tried to, just as a management team, just make sure we're staying in contact with them, you know, as much as possible, providing these opportunities for them to jump on a Zoom meeting, just to have a little bit of normalcy and talk to people. You know, doing some of these things we've done, like little after hours get together for our agents, you know, where everybody can kind of be in a social environment even. Those are the things I think that are critically important right now. Let me do this as we're getting ready to close, because man, this has been great. Thank you so much for doing this. But if you were thinking about, you know, right now, I mean, y'all, we're probably a couple weeks ahead of you guys. I mean, we had, you know, an opening of our area in the last couple of weeks with the first phase of that. And, you know, I think y'all are doing that tomorrow probably. Right. So what do you think right now is, or maybe a couple things that agents could do right now that has benefits now and that helps them grow their business going forward also? Because this too shall pass. I mean, we're going to get out of this. So what can agents be doing right now, would you say?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit of a recap of some of the things we talked about. I mean, I think number one, you know, the agents have had 5, 6, 7 weeks, a lot of them, to look at their database. So I hope that none of them come out of this and say, well, I don't have a database. Like, they should absolutely have that. I think use this opportunity. You know, we had a speaker on our last sales meeting for Metro Study, which really specializes in new construction housing data. And they also not only help builders and developers like look at analytics and look at supply demand, but they also work with banks, they work with the government. And so to bring in that outside resource who just gave some unbelievably great stats around what banks are seeing in terms of people not paying their rent, their mortgages, how that's affecting. The one thing that really came out of that, which is why everyone feels like this curve is a little bit different, is they haven't really seen the prices decrease. You know, in fact, in some areas, prices have appreciated. And so, you know, and that's why it feels a lot different than what we went through last time, because prices were going down significantly. Right. So that's where, but I feel like agents truly being able to spend this time and learn how to answer those questions, because I'm sure there's buyers out there that think, oh, I get a discount because we're having this COVID thing, and that's just how it should be. So really making sure that they're taking advantage of all the educational opportunities that are out there and understanding the facts around the housing market so that they can represent their buyers and sellers to the best of their ability and the way they need to. And I think that there's a lot of people out there now that just think, okay, it's COVID, I'm going to get a freebie, I'm going to ask for a discount. And that's not where the housing market, at least in North Carolina, is now. And so part of it is just making sure they're educated. Part of it is making sure they've got a database. And then I think the other piece that I hope that everyone has seen the last 6 or 7 weeks is the connections that you're having with people are so genuine, and everyone's having them, whether it's a Zoom, whether it's a phone call. People care about each other. And so making that a part of your business going forward, and how you're touching your clients versus, you know, just sending them out a recipe every quarter on an email. You know, use some of the things you've learned, whether it's FaceTime or Zoom or just text. You know, it's more frequently embrace what you've learned around, you know, continuing those relationships and make that part of your business as we go forward. I mean, that would be my big advice.
Absolutely. Listen, from your leadership team to the agents in your company that I know, I mean, the Carolinas companies, I mean, Berkshire Hathaway HomeServices, Carolina company, I mean, I can't give a better recommendation if somebody has a referral that they need to send to your area. If that's the case, how would people, you know, agent sees this, they've got somebody they want to refer in those areas. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, if they just go to bhhscarolinas.com, that's our website. There's just a toll-free number up there, and it goes over to our relocation department, and they can help them, you know, find an agent, identify an agent, and match them up. That'd be great. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, this is, I mean, you've added a ton of value to a number of people today, man. I can't thank you enough. You know, I'm here if I can ever help you guys. And I appreciate these conversations. So.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Yeah, well, listen, if you got any questions or if I can help in any way, don't hesitate to reach out, and I'll talk to you guys soon.